What to do, what to do. All the world's a stage. No. This is my playhouse and you're just living in it. God, no. Theater is life, and therefore I live. Jesus Christ. I have this book I've been writing containing my acting philosophy, but I cannot for the life of me come up with this final sentence, the closer, the grand finale. 200 pages of pure genius. I mean, I have really outdone myself. A whole chapter on accents filled with expertise, an entire step-by-step character discovery guide, tales of my various roles of my illustrious 30-year career. It's all so perfect. And then there is this last sentence. Perhaps the beginning will prompt the end. I wake every morning always the same, ready to create and ready to pretend. Well, that didn't help at all. You know, writing this last sentence is about as hard as playing a teenager. In one role, I played a young adolescent boy who ran off to university every morning with a fake smile on his face. He would pretend to like people, he would pretend to care, and then he would go home every night and regret everything he did that day. Now, this was a very challenging role because I love myself, but I did it. So this should be easy. I should talk about how thrilling acting is, how thrilling it is to take on a persona. How incredibly difficult and demanding it is to pretend to be something you're not. Am I just the shape of a human being with no true development? You want to know something? Actually, I hate my profession. I stand in front of a room full of people who paid $10 to $30 to see me pretend to be something I'm not. I change the way I speak, I look, I interact to appease idiots who won't matter when I take my final bow. I humiliate myself for others' enjoyment. Yet when the lights fade and I leave the stage, I have this overwhelming feeling that I was unbelievable and nothing has changed. This constant pretending makes me forget what reality I should be living in. Who am I without my character? Who am I without my costume? Who am I without my mask? Who am I without my makeup? Who am I without predetermined thoughts? Who am I without the glamorous lights? I am nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the book signing today. But before we can begin, we have a very special treat. The author has offered to read some spoken word from their newest book, The Reflective Image. And here they are now.
Hi, tonight I'm going to be reading some poetry for you. The first piece is the closing poem of The Reflecting Image. Here is what is seen. I know that someday the cracks in the mirror will heal, every imperfection snapping under the pressure, each crack leading way to another, a ripple of breaks, spaces, holes filled with emptiness, juxtaposed to the pristine surface, twinkling in the light. I know the cracks in the mirror will one day be no more, no longer refracting false images and distorted pictures, sharp and bitter, bulging, protruding, taunting, haunting one who looks into it, perception bent. Details once connected in shards, cracks going on for yards and yards, separating what once was whole. I know the cracks in the mirror will be no more. Even though a smashed mirror cannot be fixed, irreversible damage, but undeniable new beginnings. It is the reflection, not the reflector, that must make the switch, mend the cracks, and stop the ripple. Now, this next one is a short story called The Gardener. A gardener once lived, as all did before. The gardener kept a field bare of beauty and color in the back lot of his wide estate. He hated color and kept everything clean from imperfections. One day, the gardener woke to an awful sight. The field was scattered with red flowers so vibrant and noticeable they hurt his eyes. He ran out and stood in terror. Had someone played a prank, or did he buy the wrong seeds? He started to pick at the flowers. One by one, they flew through the air, pinched at the base, and completely irritated, they sprung from the ground. Every time one was picked, another seemed to appear across the field. He went into his garage to get his lawnmower. There were just too many to pick by hand. Then he ran his lawnmower across the field, scraping away each flower in its path. Red pigment stained the earth as the ground was stripped of color. By the time he had finished mowing the field, he turned around to look at what he had done. But when he turned, he saw a field of hundreds more flowers, vibrant as ever against the pale green grass. The sun was setting, so he went to bed. An entire day was wasted. He woke the next morning to find his window completely covered in vines of the red flowers. He ran out of the house to find anything in the house he could find to dry out the persistent flowers. Dousing them in alcohol, the gardener's nose was tinged by the malicious stench. The gardener doused even the vine-covered walls with alcohol. Then he waited for what seemed like years, treating the flowers with the same substance every day, but the flowers still grew. He had given up. At his wit's end, in a fit of rage, he lit a match and spewed it at the field. The flammable flowers quickly burst into a symphony of orange and yellow, crawling up the vines and onto the house. By the end of the day, there was nothing left of his estate, just a pile of burnt rubble piled on the once pristine earth. In the background, the gardener could only see the red flowers still staring back at him, as if he knew that they would be a part of him for the rest of his life. If time permits, I would like to read just one more. Layer by layer, cinch by cinch, slowly but surely, I change my appearance to fit a mold. The flashier the clothes, the more distracted others are, or so I thought. An oversized sweater hides what is beneath, but creates too much volume in the process. A tighter shirt should create a tighter waist, but the fabric folds along with every imperfection. Who is looking? I utter without might. What are they looking at? Does this top fit right? Are the pants too loose at the ankle, but at the hip too tight? Will what I'm wearing be too bold of a sight? From early in life fitting room trauma to dismantling comments from loved ones who are trying to do their best, clothes have been a blessing and curse in disguise. Quite a similar tale for most plus size. No clothes look good when you loathe the body that wears them. A constant struggle that seems to have no solution. I begin to What happens when the writer runs out of things to say? Does life keep on going, or do they just fade away? art is subjective, then why is it constantly critiqued, censored, and discounted? Artists are a dying breed, constantly underpaid and overworked, struggling to make a living, and brought down by the viewers' opinions. Will they ever understand? Or will the artists keep trying to impress those who refuse to see? We pour our souls out to the world. Until there is nothing left to give.